So about 2 weeks ago, a US congressman has tabled a bill that aims to unmask Antifa, and I think that's a fucking good idea. If you're going to turn up as a bunch of violent thugs, all masked up with flagpoles that are about this thick and made of solid wood, then you have come to cause trouble, and we should be able to identify you, because you will need to be held to account. So any activists who do this could be jailed for up to 15 years for wearing masks, under the bill called the Unmasking Antifa Act of 2018, which I am in full support of, despite the fact that they aren't actually the only thing that's targeted. Anyone who would turn up with a complete face covering would be targeted under this bill. The bill was introduced by Republican Representative Dan Donovan of New York last month, and has drawn widespread condemnation from critics who claim it unfairly targets Antifa activists. Why is that unfair? What's unfair about it? They're a bunch of violent left-wing radicals who go around assaulting people and smashing up property. Why is it unfair that they are unable to hide their identity and evade prosecution? Why the fuck is that unfair? I think it's completely fair, and the thing is, it doesn't just target these people, it's just these are the only cowards that do it. And they claim it could embolden far-right demonstrators Antifa protests against. How? They don't go around covering up their faces. You never see like the alt-right or the Proud Boys or any of these other far-right ones doing it. It's just Antifa who cover their faces because they're the ones in the institutions. They're the ones with the middle-class backgrounds who need to keep their identity secret because they don't have a legitimate leg to stand on. They're ideological radicals. They're not people who are actually suffering. They're people who won't shut the fuck up and just get on with their lives. This is another draconian measure to actually criminalize dissent in the United States, said Scott Crow, a former Antifa organizer and despicable fucking commie. Well, get bent, Scott. Maybe if your dissent was peaceful and political rather than violent, I would have no problem with it. I mean, you don't see me protesting like climate change people. You don't see me complaining about them. Because I don't see climate change activists beating people up. I'm not saying they don't, I just personally never see it. But I'm sure they don't. I'm sure they're relatively peaceful. Same with like the Women's March, right? I don't complain about the Women's March at all. I laugh at it. I enjoy it. I think that you guys should dress up as vaginas all damn day long. Make it as public as possible that you've dressed up as a massive cunt to walk around and protest Donald Trump's pussy grabbing. You should do that all day. Because you're not hurting anyone, it's your right to peacefully protest. But these fuckers don't peacefully protest, and everyone knows it, so fuck them. Fuck them. They are well outside the bounds of what is acceptable in a liberal democracy. I'm sorry, they don't have the right to be hidden while they commit crimes. Fuck them. But the filthy commie says that this is because the law, even if it doesn't explicitly state leftists who mask up, that's who the largest potential target of the law is, far more than white nationalists. Well, I'm glad to hear that. I'm glad to hear that, like, the KKK aren't that much of a problem. Yeah, I mean, if they were masking up, I'd be like, yeah, fuck them too. Masking up and beating people up or smashing up property, fuck them too. But I don't really see it. They seem to be a tiny fringe minority who do nothing, whereas Antifa are a relatively populous and large and violent organisation who have been committing more acts of violence of late, like beating up people who are in restaurants and things like this. It's like, these people need to be stopped. This can't go on. This Republican is doing exactly the right thing. Crow said that the bill is an attempt by lawmakers to avoid tackling the issue of hate speech and instead address the symptom of it by targeting protests. Because you can't be expected to control your actions. That's what you're saying. You can't be expected to not become a violent thug just because there are people who have opinions that you don't like. Hate speech is free speech. If you don't like it, don't listen to it. That's your option. Or go and argue with them. Go and address what they're actually saying on the merits of what they're actually saying and prove them wrong. Because I bet 9 out of 10 times you could actually do it if you were prepared to put in the work, but you're not. Walter Schwab, the former director of the Office of Government Ethics, tweeted about the bill on Tuesday, suggesting it advanced authoritarianism. No, it's preventing authoritarianism. The authoritarianism is coming from the communist radicals who mask up and then intimidate and beat people for having a difference of opinion. It's not like Antifa actually have a good track record of being able to identify an actual white nationalist. They will call literally anyone and everyone a white nationalist if you get in their way. So no, this is not advancing authoritarianism. This is rolling back authoritarianism. This is allowing peaceful protest to go on, whether you agree with the thing being protested or not. That's a good thing. 2 groups go to Charlottesville. Stop you there. Charlottesville is really, by far, the most important thing that Antifa have done. Charlottesville is one out of dozens and dozens, probably now hundreds of cases of Antifa thugs beating people up. I mean, I was attacked by Antifa. Do you understand? I actively oppose the alt-right and white nationalism. I come from a mixed race background. I am a liberal, and I have been attacked by Antifa. Charlottesville is one case. Where were you in Berkeley? Multiple times, in fact, in Berkeley. No, you're not even thinking about it. You don't care. Just because these fucks are beating unconscious people on the floor or smacking women or macing women, doesn't matter. Calling cops the N-word, that was another favourite of mine. You don't care about that. Oh no, fuck Charlottesville. I don't give a shit. I find it interesting how they don't interview the Republican putting this forward, but they do get a statement from his spokesman that I assume was just a public statement. He says, "My bill expands on a long-standing civil rights statutes to make it a crime to deprive someone of constitutionally guaranteed protections while masked or disguised." Good. The Americans have the natural right to speak and protest freely. It's not a right to throw a Molotov cocktail and beat people while hiding behind a mask. Completely correct. Factually accurate. This is a fantastic idea, and I think it should be done. But regardless of whether the bill becomes law, the commie said that it won't stop protesters from wearing masks. If they take the right away to mask up, people will still do it anyway and fight against authoritarianism in any form. Okay, for a start, it's a freedom, not a right. But I think you absolutely should, assuming this is passed and God willing it fucking will be, you should absolutely mask up. And then go down and show the cops how anti-authoritarianism you are. Carry on, you lunatic communists. I'm sure the police will take your flagrant violation of the law while you're trying to assault people with good humour.